Ella had always been Thomas's biggest supporter. For 4 years, she stood by him as he pursued one ambitious idea after another. Even when his dreams seemed like dark clouds overshadowing their lives, she sacrificed her own career to manage their home. While Thomas poured himself into building his business, Ella kept everything running smoothly, believing in him and in the life they were building together. But over time, it became clear that her faith wasn't enough. Thomas's ventures never brought the success he had dreamed of. Debt piled up, one bill after another, until they were drowning in a financial storm. What started as a few missed mortgage payments escalated into threatening letters from creditors. Ella tried her best to reassure him, to calm his nerves, but the pressure only seemed to distance him further. When Thomas looked at her, it was no longer with the warmth she once knew, but with cold disdain and frustration that made her heart ache. One crisp autumn afternoon, Thomas came home with a look in his eyes that Ella hadn't seen before, a detached coldness that felt more cutting than any of his recent frustrations. He sat her down and, without emotion, announced that he had decided to end their marriage. His words reverberated through her, each syllable landing like a blow. "It's over, Ella," he said flatly. "I need to move on, and frankly, you're holding me back." Ella sat frozen, barely able to process what he was saying. "Thomas, what are you talking about? We're supposed to get through this together. We've always been a team." His eyes hardened, his voice cold. "A team, Ella? You don't understand ambition. You've never pushed yourself the way I have. You've held me back with your lack of vision. I need someone who can be my equal, not just follow along." The words stung, cutting deep. Ella felt her heart fracture as he continued to unravel every thread of their life together, dismissing her efforts as though they meant nothing. Thomas moved quickly to finalize the divorce, leaving Ella with almost nothing. In a matter of weeks he was gone, and the house felt hollow in his absence, a painful emptiness she wasn't prepared for. She found herself buried in unpaid bills, weighed down by the harshness of his words, which still stung like fresh wounds. With only her resilience and a small savings to rely on, Ella began the difficult process of rebuilding her life. She sold their house, moving into a small apartment on the outskirts of town, furnished with only the basics. Each piece of furniture, though modest, was both a reminder of what she had lost and a symbol of her resilience. She made a conscious choice to let go of bitterness, refusing to let Thomas's cruelty dictate her future. In her solitude, she turned to the one thing that had always brought her peace, making jewelry. What had once been a simple hobby became her refuge, a way to channel the heavy emotions she carried. Hours were spent in her tiny apartment, carefully crafting intricate pieces from beads and wire, each creation an expression of her strength, her journey, and the quiet fury she transformed into beauty. One evening, as she admired her latest piece, a delicate silver necklace with soft, translucent gemstones that shimmered like morning dew, she felt a spark of pride she hadn't experienced in a long time. On a whim, she snapped a photo of it and posted it to a social media page she rarely used. To her surprise, the response was immediate. Comments flooded in, admiring the elegance of her work, with strangers asking if it was for sale or if she had more like it. Ella's heart raced. She hadn't expected anyone to take notice, let alone show interest. The next day, she uploaded more photos of her creations. Slowly, messages started pouring in, and orders trickled through. Though small at first, the response ignited something in her, a glimmer of hope, the possibility that she might be able to create something all her own. She set up an online store, carefully curating her pieces, photographing them with the little knowledge she had, and writing heartfelt descriptions for each one. Her story became intertwined with every piece, and her audience could feel it. Within weeks, her jewelry line, Ella's Gems grew beyond her expectations. People from all over the country began ordering her handcrafted jewelry, and each sale brought her closer to financial independence. Meanwhile, Thomas's new life wasn't as successful as he'd imagined. Without Ella's quiet support, his plans faltered. His confidence shrank, and the ambitions he once held so dearly crumbled under the weight of his own arrogance. The very qualities he had once scorned in Ella, her patience, her humility, were the ones he now found himself craving. But Ella didn't focus on his struggles. She was building a new path, one that was hers alone. Her work consumed her in the best possible way, filling her days and nights with purpose. She poured her heart into Ella's Gems, honing her craft, teaching herself business skills, and connecting with customers who valued her work. The brand grew steadily, and soon small boutiques reached out, eager to carry her jewelry. Months turned into a year, and Ella's Gems had blossomed into a thriving business. Her name began to spread within the artisan jewelry world, catching the attention of fashion bloggers and influencers. One day, Ella received an unexpected email from a popular magazine, requesting an interview to share her story. Surprised by the interest in her rise from obscurity to success, she was initially stunned, struggling to grasp that others saw her journey as something worth telling. In the interview, she opened up about her struggles, her determination, and the inspiration behind each of her pieces. She spoke candidly about how crafting had been her refuge during the darkest times, a way to find strength when everything else felt like it was falling apart. The article went viral, sparking an influx of attention she had never imagined. Orders flooded her website, and the demand grew so rapidly that she had to hire a small team just to keep up. One morning, while preparing orders, Ella received a call from a major fashion house that had discovered her brand through the magazine feature. They offered her a partnership to design an exclusive line of pieces, an opportunity that could elevate her brand to new heights. Ella accepted with quiet pride, realizing that she had truly built something of her own. Meanwhile, across town in a small, cluttered office, Thomas found himself staring at a magazine with her face on the cover. The headline read, Ella's Gems, From Heartbreak to High Fashion *. As he read her story, a wave of regret washed over him. He recalled the days when she had quietly stood by his side, her strength hidden behind a gentle smile. And now, she had become everything he'd once thought she couldn't be: successful, independent, and admired. The realization hit him hard, a bitter pill he could hardly swallow. Ella, the woman he had cast aside, had risen from the ashes of his betrayal to build something extraordinary, while he was struggling to salvage the remnants of his own failed dreams. Ella's world was evolving at a pace she hadn't anticipated. The partnership with the fashion house propelled Ella's Gems to new heights, transforming her brand from a small online shop to a recognized name among industry insiders and celebrities alike. Orders poured in, collaborations were secured, and her team expanded as demand soared. Yet, despite the excitement and success, Ella remained grounded, constantly reminding herself of the hardships that had shaped her achievements. As the months passed, her confidence blossomed. No longer the woman who had been discarded, she now saw herself as a creator, a designer, and a businesswoman. Looking back at the broken version of herself, the woman left in that empty house, she marveled at how far she had come. Every piece she crafted became a reflection of her resilience, a silent testament to her journey. One evening, Ella found herself invited to an industry gala, an exclusive black tie event hosted by a luxury brand she had admired from afar in her early days as a designer. As she stood in front of the mirror, she could hardly recognize the woman looking back at her. Dressed in an elegant gown, with jewelry from her own line glinting around her neck and wrists, she felt a surge of power and pride. This was her moment, a celebration of the success she had fought so hard to achieve. At the gala, she mingled with designers, executives, and media personalities who had taken an interest in her story. Her nerves settled as she saw the admiration in their eyes. She wasn't just another woman in the background anymore. She was respected, valued, and sought after. As she spoke about her work, the energy in the room shifted. The genuine appreciation for her journey resonated with everyone around her. Amid the evening's buzz, Ella was introduced to Lucas, a well-known CEO in the fashion industry. He had heard of her work and was intrigued by her journey. As they conversed, she felt an unexpected connection, an ease she hadn't experienced in years. Lucas admired her vision, her creativity, and the resilience that had become a core part of who she was. Their conversation stretched late into the evening, and for the first time since her painful divorce, Ella allowed herself to imagine a future where she could be both successful and truly happy, one that didn't require her to compromise who she was for someone else's ambitions. Meanwhile, across town, Thomas's life was falling apart. The fresh start he had eagerly pursued after leaving Ella turned out to be a mirage. His business ventures crumbled, one after another, each failure more devastating than the last. His financial struggles deepened, and soon he found himself trapped by the same fears he had once fled from. In an attempt to numb the pain, he drowned himself in expensive outings and fleeting relationships, but they offered only temporary escape. With each failed venture, the truth began to sink in. The stability he had taken for granted had come from Ella's quiet, unwavering presence. Now, in the cold silence of his new life, surrounded by the wreckage of his ambitions, he was left to face a bitter realization. He had abandoned the one person who had truly believed in him, and now he had nothing to show for it. The tipping point came one afternoon when Thomas walked into a coffee shop, hoping for a brief distraction. As his eyes scanned the room, they landed on a familiar face, Ella. She was laughing, her eyes sparkling with joy, her expression full of happiness as she spoke with a group of people. She looked radiant, confident, and unmistakably fulfilled. Thomas's heart lurched in his chest. A pain of regret twisted inside him as he wondered if that laughter had ever been for him, or if he had been too blinded by his own ambitions to truly see her. Unable to shake the image of her from his mind, Thomas left without a word. That evening, he found himself searching for her online, curiosity and regret mingling. He scrolled through articles, interviews, and photos of her at industry events. The scale of her success was overwhelming. Every mention of her name was accompanied by glowing praise, stories of her resilience and a brand that had become synonymous with elegance and empowerment. Days later, unable to resist, Thomas picked up a copy of Forbes featuring her story. The headline read, Ella's Gems, How One Woman Transformed Heartbreak into a High-Fashion Empire. Staring at the cover, he felt the weight of his past mistakes pressed down on him like a leaden stone. As he flipped through the pages, he read about the hardships she had faced after their divorce, the late nights, the sacrifices, the unwavering determination. Each word was a revelation, a glimpse into the strength he had never truly seen in her, the resilience she had hidden beneath the surface, and the empire she had built from the ashes of their past. Ella spoke of her journey with poise, acknowledging the pain of betrayal but without bitterness. She shared how she had been forced to face her fears, uncover hidden talents, and discover strength she never knew she had. Though she didn't mention him by name, her words felt like an unspoken confession of his guilt. For the first time, Thomas saw Ella through a new lens. He saw her as the woman he had never truly understood, someone who had quietly endured his harsh words, dismissals, and endless criticisms. A woman who had the patience and grace to rise above it all and build a legacy that would forever eclipse his own failures. Thomas's regret grew unbearable, consuming him day and night. He tried to focus on salvaging what little was left of his career, but each attempt felt futile. His business ventures were met with indifference or outright rejection, and his former colleagues and friends kept their distance, wary of his financial instability and failed ventures. He had lost the credibility that once opened doors for him, and the respect he had taken for granted had slipped away, leaving him with nothing but the weight of his mistakes. Unable to carry the burden of remorse any longer, Thomas reached out to Ella, crafting a carefully worded message in the hope of reconnecting. He wanted to apologize, to make amends, and maybe even rebuild some kind of relationship, even if only as friends. He waited anxiously, checking his phone repeatedly, but no response came. The silence from her end spoke louder than any words could. Ella had moved on. She had left behind the life he had built with ambition and pride, leaving him trapped in the wreckage of his own choices. Meanwhile, Ella barely gave the message a second thought. Her life had moved beyond the shadow of the past, filled with purpose, growth, and fulfillment. She had surrounded herself with a community of supporters, mentors, and friends who recognized her for the woman she had always been, strong, talented, and compassionate. Her partnership with Lucas continued to thrive, both in their professional pursuits and personal connection. They'd bonded over their shared love for design and their shared commitment to making a positive impact on the industry. Lucas admired her resilience and the fresh perspective she brought to every project. As their relationship deepened, Ella allowed herself to trust again, realizing that love didn't have to be sacrificed for success. With the right person, both could coexist and even flourish. As their relationship blossomed, Ella Ella found herself thinking less and less about the painful chapter of her past. Thomas's betrayal, which had once defined her journey, no longer had the power to shape her future. But now it was just a chapter in her story, one that had led her to the happiness and success she now enjoyed. Months passed, and Ella's life unfolded into a beautiful balance of professional triumphs and personal fulfillment. She had found peace in a way she never could have imagined in the days following her divorce. Her heart, once heavy with bitterness, had softened, allowing her to embrace the possibilities of love and friendship again. Thomas, however, remained trapped by regret. The life he had once abandoned so carelessly now felt like a distant, fading memory. A dream he had selfishly thrown away. It took time, but he finally recognized that his blind ambition had led him to forsake the most valuable thing he had ever possessed: Ella's unwavering support and love. But the realization came too late. She had moved on, achieving heights he could only fantasize about. The woman he had once dismissed as lacking ambition had built a legacy that far surpassed anything he could have ever hoped to achieve. As he observed her from a distance, Thomas could only dwell on his loss, knowing that he would forever remain on the periphery of her success, a mere observer of the life she had rebuilt without him. Each day, Ella's life grew richer in ways she had once thought impossible. Her partnership with Lucas opened doors to creative opportunities she had only dreamed of, and their relationship blossomed with a warmth and respect that felt genuine and right. For the first time, Ella allowed herself to dream of a future filled not only with career achievements, but also with love and companionship, a life built entirely on her own terms. Her brand, Ella's Gems, had become a household name, symbolizing beauty, resilience, and empowerment. Media outlets clamored to share her story, focusing on her rise from heartbreak to high fashion. Her inbox overflowed with messages from women around the world, sharing their own stories of perseverance and thanking her for the inspiration she had given them. She had become a symbol of strength, an icon of the belief that one could rise from life's deepest wounds with grace and grit. As her public image grew, so did her influence. Ella used her platform not only to promote her jewelry, but also to support causes close to her heart. Funding scholarships for aspiring designers, creating initiatives for women who had experienced hardships similar to her own, and advocating for fair trade practices within the jewelry industry. She felt as if she had finally found her true calling, building a legacy that transcended financial success. The interview ***. One afternoon, Ella received a message from Forbes magazine inviting her to be featured in their Women of Influence series. They wanted her on the cover, showcasing her as a visionary entrepreneur who had not only built a thriving brand, but had also made a profound impact through her philanthropic work. The invitation felt surreal, but she accepted with gratitude, knowing just how far she had come. On the day of the interview, Ella entered the Forbes office, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and humility. She sat across from the journalist, sharing her journey with an openness that captivated the interviewer. She spoke about her love for jewelry making, the pain that had driven her to create, and the unexpected joy of seeing her work become a symbol of strength. Toward the end of the interview, the journalist asked a question that caught Ella off guard. If you could say anything to the person who once doubted you, the one who inspired this journey in an unexpected way, what would it be? Ella paused for a moment, a soft smile crossing her face as she reflected on the pain that had once consumed her life. I would thank him, she said, her voice steady and calm. Because it was in the darkness that I found my light. His doubt pushed me to believe in myself in ways I never thought possible. I wouldn't change a thing. Her words left a lasting impact, and by the end of the interview, the journalist's admiration was evident. The feature was set to be the cover story, one that would highlight not only Ella's remarkable success, but also her strength, a testament to a woman who had transformed adversity into triumph. As the Forbes issue hit newsstands, the story quickly gained traction, becoming one of the most read articles of the year. Ella's face graced the cover, her expression one of quiet confidence, a subtle defiance that spoke of battles fought and won. Her story spread far and wide, touching countless readers who saw in her a reflection of their own struggles and aspirations. Across town, Thomas picked up a copy, his heart sinking with regret as he gazed at the woman he had once dismissed. Each word of her story echoed his failures, reminding him of the life he had carelessly thrown away in pursuit of hollow ambition. Ella's success had eclipsed anything he had ever achieved, and with painful clarity, he realized that the fulfillment she had found would always remain out of his reach. Driven by his guilt, Thomas reached out to her once more, composing a heartfelt message where he admitted his mistakes and apologized for the pain he had caused. He poured his remorse into every word, hoping that somehow she might find it in her heart to forgive him, even if they could never truly rebuild what had been lost. When Ella read the message, a flood of emotions swept over her: nostalgia, a touch of sadness, and, unexpectedly, forgiveness. But she had long since moved beyond the hurt he had left behind, and her heart no longer carried the weight of bitterness. She chose not to respond, not out of malice, but because she had found peace in the life she had built. Forgiveness had come naturally, woven into the tapestry of her success and happiness. As the years passed, Ella's brand and influence continued to grow. She became a powerful advocate for women in business, embodying resilience and strength. She traveled the world, meeting people who shared her passion and supporting causes that aligned with her values. She and Lucas grew even closer, eventually marrying in a quiet ceremony surrounded by friends and loved ones who had been part of her journey. In Lucas, Ella found a partner who celebrated her success and stood by her side with unwavering respect and admiration. Conclusion. Looking back on her journey years later, Ella felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Her life had been shaped by challenges, but those challenges had led her to a place of profound fulfillment. Her brand was thriving, her marriage was full of love, and her legacy had blossomed into one of strength, compassion, and transformation. Thomas had long since faded into her past, just another chapter she had closed. Ella's story was no longer defined by the pain he had caused, but by the life she had created. From heartbreak to high fashion, she had crafted a legacy of endurance, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of a woman who refused to be broken. Ella's gems had become a symbol of hope for anyone who had ever been doubted, a reminder that life's hardest challenges often reveal life's greatest strengths. For Ella, the woman who had once been left with nothing, her success was a quiet, steady triumph, one that would echo through generations to come. Dear viewers, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel for more stories every day. We'd love to hear what you think about this story. Share your thoughts with us.